If you have been the victim of a crime, whether that be physical, a sexual, domestic violence situation, you may be entitled to counselling, compensation, and financial support for expenses that you've had to outlay, medical, dental, or relocation, for instance. So, this is a walkthrough of the New South Wales, Australia application for victim services. It's a process based on my own experience of applying and my experience as a caseworker applying on behalf of my clients. Disclaimer, this is not legal, financial, health, business, or any other kind of personalized advice. Please seek your own personal advice based on your personal circumstances in relation to the rules, regulations, and legislation of the area you live in. Trigger warning, look after yourself. Filling in an application it's tough. It can be re-traumatizing. You do have to write things and upload evidence. You have to think about it. You may have to relive it. So please look after yourself by taking breaks whenever you need to, by using your breath, just keeping yourself centered and grounded, and reminding yourself that where you are is safe. If you need the support to put in the application, please reach out to someone. And if you have somebody that you can debrief with afterwards, because it is a tough process, it's challenging, it's mentally draining. So, what I've done here is just in Google, I'm typing Victim Services New South Wales. It may sound like something different in your state or your area if it is offered. So, I'm going to search for that, and I'm going to click onto their website. So different things will come up, of course. You have a look at what's in your area. I'm going to click on just the main page here, or the first page. Now, there will be, like I said, lots of links and lots of things. If you are ready to apply, obviously you can read about it here. There are counsellors here, but for this one, that's what the website looks like. There's a whole heap of information. For this one, we're going to click on Apply for Victim Support. So making an application for assistance through victim support, again, look, there's numbers to call as well. What we're going to do is, it is telling you to, you can authorize someone to represent you. You can add a caseworker or a family member or somebody who can get this information as well. You will need a government-issued identification, so your driver's license. You may need, and if you're applying for counselling for a child, you'll need a Medicare card as well. So there are all different kinds of things in here that you can look at. But what I want to do today, bank account details, is just actually take you through the application to be able to just see how it works and sort of take out that unknown and the scariness of it. Lots of numbers. They are really helpful. They are. So we're going to apply online. Today you can apply by email or post it in, but it is pretty straightforward once you know how to do it. So this application is for a primary victim of a violent crime applying for counselling, financial assistance, and or a recognition payment. You can be a secondary victim applying for counselling, or it's for parents, step-parents, or guardian of a child primary victim applying for on behalf of them. So there is also there's support for family members of a homicide victim too, and that's a different application, but we're going to click this application for support. Okay, now up here, it does say resume a previously saved form. You can save your progress for an application. It will be saved for 30 days. So if you don't have all of your information or can't get it within 30 days, I would wait, because it will exit out of the system and you'll have to start again anyway. So this is on the premise that you've been a victim of a crime, you've had to report to somebody, or you've received treatment for it and you need to be reimbursed, or you're applying for counselling, because counselling is so important along this journey. So obviously you can read through all of that, and we're just going to go through the application like I would be applying for myself or on behalf of someone. So did the incident happen in Australia? Sorry, in New South Wales? Yes. Who is this application for? So I'm going to pick a person who was injured as a direct result of an act of violence or modern slavery. You will pick, if it's something else, you will pick. But I'm going to go through this application like it is a victim of domestic violence, because that is my personal experience with this form, with this application, and as a caseworker. So there are a number of things that you can choose from here if you have been a victim of some other crime as well. We're going to pick domestic and or family violence. Were you under the age of 18 at the time? So no, 18 and over. And how long ago did the incident occur? So you can apply if the incident happened less than 2 years ago. It does get a little bit trickier if it's been more than 2 years, so definitely helpful to apply for it sooner rather than later. There is not a time limitation on child victims of sexual abuse or sexual assault. Even if it happened more than 10 years ago, you can still apply for that. So we're looking at this application as the victim of domestic and or family violence, and it's happened within the last 2 years. So that's what I'm going to pick there. The assistance available for domestic violence, you can apply for financial assistance to help cover relocating, medical, dental. If you had property damaged, that's called an immediate needs support package. So we are definitely going to apply for counselling. If approved, you are eligible for 22 hours of counselling with an approved Victims Services counsellor. That means it's somebody who is well experienced, who has gone through a process with victim services to get them onto the list and be able to refer. Immediate needs support package is a separate application, which I'll go through. So this recognition payment is to acknowledge that you have been the victim of a violent crime or modern slavery. Nobody can give you back your time. Nobody can take away what happened. Nobody can take away your trauma. The only thing they can give you is monetary compensation to acknowledge that you were hurt, that you were the victim of a crime, and that you need something to be able to keep going. Side note from that, I have received recognition payment. I was a victim of childhood sexual abuse, and I did receive a recognition payment later. Now, that money was really quite challenging for me, because while it was helpful, I, for instance, brought a lounge. I brought a brand new lounge with that money, and every time I sat on that lounge, I knew where that money had come from. So I really would advise that if you're getting, more than a little bit of money on here, a substantial payout, and when I say substantial, I mean like $5,000, $10,000, then, and I'll go through the levels of those as we get, there is somewhere on here to do that. But if you're getting something like that, speak to someone about it, whether it's a financial counsellor who you can access for free. Speak to your counsellor about that as well, because it's actually really challenging. People think, oh, you just want the money. It's really challenging to then know how you came about that money. So this is all information on what you need to be able to provide. The immediate needs support package I'll go through separately, because it is just, it's a little bit more involved. You will need an AVO, the police event number, if police have come out. If you did not report to police, you must have reported to another government or government-funded organisation. So a support service, Department of Communities, Child Protection. If you had a caseworker, you must have reported to them, and then they need to do what's called an organisation report. For the recognition payment, you need the same, and if you're claiming additional medical, dental costs as well, you will need invoices. If you are claiming a loss of earnings, so from your job, you need to fill out a separate form for that too. This is why it all gets very confusing. So, counselling, immediate needs support package, which is a separate application, recognition payment, that's what we're going through now. Next page. So I'm going to fill this in sort of as me, but not with correct details, of course. I'm going to put no. So name, I am female. My date of birth is going to be the 1st of the 1st, 1970. I'm 43, but anyway. So you choose, obviously, that one. I am not. I speak English at home. We're going. Oh, I wonder if it's going to come up with. Oh, how am I going to. All right, we're just going to pick that one. Is your postal address the same? So I'm going to put in my Lisa at Lisa's Sanctuary just for the purposes of taking you through this application. And I'm going to make up a number as well. So is that enough? I don't know if that's enough numbers. I prefer email. And yes, you can contact me by phone. So that's just now. I am going to upload. So yeah, birth certificate, Centrelink card, your license, marriage certificate, Medicare card. They do prefer. Does it actually say on here you do need to have photo document? Anyway, choose the highest level that you have. Oh, that's just my stuff there. We're going to. What am I going to look at here? Documents. Oh no, I am in there. I do have a driver's license in here somewhere. I'm just going to upload that. And no, I'm not going to upload another document. So I'm uploading that because it wouldn't let me proceed without it. So make sure you have that. Authorized persons or representatives. So if you are applying for counselling for a child, then you will put your you will say they are under the age of 18. So if I was going to choose yes, you would just go through those questions there. Whether the child's under that would be if a caseworker's filling it out. So the applicant is over the age of 18. Do you want to authorize someone to be your representative? So if I put yes there, then you can choose. And if you have a representative, they may fill this out for you. But if you want them to get a copy of the decision, excuse me, a copy of the decision or any of the correspondence, then you can pick your legal rep. I obviously would choose organisation. As a caseworker, you can choose a parent, a relative, a friend, anyone. So then you will put their details in there. I chose support caseworker for that and would put in my work details. And then you can choose whether you want that person to be your authorised representative for only this application or for all of your victim services applications. And that one is helpful because if you have a caseworker and this is, say, the second relationship of abuse that you've experienced and you're applying for it again, which does happen, and it feels really, silly at the time, but it happens. And so it may be helpful for your caseworker to see what the last package was, especially if you have received the immediate needs support package before, to then be able to apply for it again. And then do you want to receive all the correspondence, only you, or do you want the authorised representative to receive the correspondence only, so that you can choose both of them? It's just so if you want to see it, if you want them to get it as well, it's up to you. So I'm going to go back here and just put no, just for the purposes of, how am I going to do this? I don't think, okay. Details in there. It's not going to let me go through. How am I going to do this? All right, I'm just going to, let me just, I know that because that's my bank. So ING will come up there. Oh, I might just put in a bunch of numbers. Okay, cool, because I'm not obviously going to submit this. So, has the applicant applied for victim support before? Like I said, it happens, and it could be with the same perpetrator, it could be a completely different violent crime or something. So, just for the will it, yeah. So, if you do put yes, it will just ask, you'll get a reference number at the top of your victim services correspondence, and you will just put that information in there. For the purposes of ease, I'm going to put no. This is where we go into what's happened. So, how was the applicant injured? If you were physically injured, you would select that one. If you were psychologically injured, you would, and obviously you can select both or you can choose which one it was. Please tell us about the incident. So, this just needs to be really brief, and it gives you the examples. I was physically assaulted by my partner. I saw a person being attacked with a knife. Just very briefly in there, I was, I'm just going to put assaulted. When did the incident occur? So, if it's a physical assault, you can obviously know the specific date that that happened. If you want to apply for domestic violence across that period of time, you can choose that one. So, if the incident happened on a specific date, it will get you to put the date in. If there were multiple incidences, you would pick sort of the when the relationship started to become violent. So what am I going to do? First of the first 2026, say, and then if somebody has only just escaped last week, or there was that incident, we're just going to put in the date that it happened up until. Where in New South Wales did the incident happen? That can just be the suburb. So if it happened, I'm in the Shoalhaven, so it happened in Nowra. Generally, you will upload an AVO with, and they'll get access to the police narrative or on the organisation report, so they're going to see where that happened anyway. In here, details of the offender. So, is the offender known to the applicant? Yes, because if it was a partner, is the offender related to the applicant? So, yes, related by as a spouse or partner. Does the applicant know the name of the offender? So, yes, and then you give their information in. Now, side note to this, if the claim goes through, if your application goes through, I don't know what the criteria is, but they do tell you that they may apply to the offender to repay restitution. If you are worried about the fallback of that, you can, or any fallout of that, you can write to Victim Services and tell them that it would not be in your best interest for your safety and well-being if they went after the offender for to repay money back. You can absolutely have that put in for your safety. So we're just going to put John there. You would obviously do the last name, the date of birth, and that too. So we're going to go next. Here's where we report it. Was the incident disclosed to a government agency or a government-funded organisation or reported to the police? So we're going to put in this one that it was, yes, reported, and then the incident was disclosed or reported. Generally, if police have they've been called out to an incident, that will be the day that you've reported the incident, because there'll be the statement, police statement, and AVO. Or if you've reported it, if you're applying for domestic violence over a period of time, there may be several dates that you've reported to police. Especially if you've reported you've got an AVO, then there are breaches. So specific date, we left on so we're just going to put that we reported it to police on the 20th of the 7th. Who was the incident disclosed or reported to? So police, and then it will ask you for the reference number, the police station. If you don't have all of that information, check with them for it, because police should give you either a police event number, or it will be on the copy of your AVO. There'll be a reference number on there. So that's where you will put that in there. And then victim services will actually look up that police reference number, and they can actually read the narrative, and they can figure out what actually happened, how you were injured in there, and it basically is your evidence for it. If you've reported it to a government-funded organisation, they will need to write a report. So that's a separate application or document that they will do. And so you'll just put the name in there, and then the document that they give you, you can upload that there. So, or a government agency, if it was another government agency. So maybe Department of Communities and Justice is the child protection arm in New South Wales. If you've reported it to your solicitor, if that's any other sort of like disability support or education, so we're going to, just like I said, for ease, we're going to say it went to the police, the reference number in there, the police station. Did the matter go to court? Generally, AVOs do go to court, and it will just ask you for information. And if you don't have all of that information, that's fine. I would normally put in here AVO mention, the location of the court, which for me is Nowra. Actually, I'm just going to put it in there. Or you could do a hearing, whatever it is, Nowra. Date, it went to court on the 23rd of the 7th. If you've got a court reference number, you can put that in. But look, victim services are able to go through and find this information. If you are applying for a recognition payment and do not have the copy of medical, dental, or counselling report, you can send that later. So what that means is when you have been approved for the counselling, or if you're approved for the counselling, you will speak to the counsellor and say that you have applied for a recognition payment, and then they will fill in what's called a certificate of injury, which is basically the evidence that you have suffered emotional and psychological harm, anxiety, panic attacks, nightmares, things like that. If you are claiming financial assistance for economic loss, there'll be other forms and things for that, but you must upload at least, if you've got hospital discharge papers or dental, if you've got anything from a treating GP, if you needed stitches, if you've got bruising that you went and saw somebody for. So things like that. But otherwise, you can use the counselling report. Like I said, it's called a certificate of injury. So if you have that documentation, which you probably won't at the time of this, you would select no. But if you do, it will ask you whether you've got a counselling report, medical, dental, hospital records, counselling notes, GP notes, ambulance report, or another. And then you will upload the file. So I'm just going to put no, just for the ease of not having to fill anything in. And then what you will do is, once this is submitted, you will get a victim services, like a registration number, a reference number, and then you can just email them the reference number and attach your certificate of injury, and they will assess for the recognition payment. Next page. So eligible persons can access up to 22 hours of counselling. Even if you don't feel ready for counselling, please choose yes and just get the approval through. It does last for a little while. You may be too shell-shocked or just so numb right now that and you've got court and police stuff to do, and there's just moving and safety planning, and you've got hundreds of people trying to call you and offer support, or try and work out where to go. But just apply for it, just tick it, and it's there. Financial assistance. So this is where you would do the immediate needs support service. Immediate needs support package, So you can, essential household items, there's relocation, removalist, rent, things like that. And I may need to go, So if you are going to apply for that, you choose yes. What does it do if I choose? Yeah, nothing there. So yes. So then what you would do is you would choose this financial assistance for immediate needs, put that in, It's only available for primary victims of domestic violence. So, there it is. All right, let me just open that up there. So then you will put that file in there once you've filled it out. Get this one filled out first before you go through here. So I'm going to do that as a separate one, actually. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to upload that. It's just a document just to be able to go through the recognition payment. Do you want to apply for a recognition payment? Yes. And then once this gets submitted, then you will put your medical dental counselling reports in within 12 months of lodging the application. There are levels to the recognition payment. For domestic violence, domestic and family violence, it's a flat $1,500, $1,500 recognition payment. If you have the next level up, and I don't want to get anything wrong in there, but the next level up is for serious physical injuries, and it may have a sexual assault in there. There's a $5,000 recognition payment, and the top tier one is a $10,000 recognition payment. And the immediate needs support package is a maximum of $5,000 for that one, which includes relocation, rent if need be, replacing household items if you've had to leave with nothing, if things have been damaged, if you need appliances and things like that. So there is financial assistance there. Let's go to the next page here. So this is just asking you if you've received money from other sources. So have you gotten any money from workers' compensation? We're going to choose no for all of this because generally you haven't, but obviously by all means, if you do receive it. Has any money been received from a civil or other court claim, or do you plan to do a civil or other court claim? You will answer that accordingly. Have you received any money from insurance or plan to? Has money been received from, or do you plan to, from any individual organisation? So we're going to choose no for all of that, but obviously if you do, is there any other documents that you want to upload? You can put in, any medical reports there, if you've got caseworker support letter, if you've got just whatever you can think of. They will get hold of the police narrative as well, especially if there's an AVO, so you may not need to. Next page there. So please, in your own time, read through all of that as you do it. But what you will do is go right down to the end, to the bottom, click the declaration, and then you need to click that you're not a robot. Oh, I don't want to submit that there, obviously. Once you submit, just make sure, because I'm pretty sure that there is another one you need to confirm or submit. I'm not going to submit that one now. And that's filling in the Victim Services application form. So how long? That's all right. So I'm up to probably about 25 minutes that's taken me. So if you have your identification, your police report, or at least the event number, that's great. Submit that in. The counselling approval generally comes through fairly quickly, and then you can go onto the Victim Services website, check up their list of approved counsellors, and then you can choose someone from there. Where is it? There we go. Find an approved counsellor. So you will put in your location. Some of them may be on phone, some of them may be video, especially if nobody, and then you'll get a list and you can reach out to them to check their waiting list. Tell them you've got Victim Services approval once it comes through via email, and then tell them you will need them to fill out that certificate of injury, and then you email that to Victim Services once you have the certificate of injury. I'll make a separate video about the immediate needs support package because it probably needs a video on its own. So that is the New South Wales victim services application. Again, it is not personalised advice. It's not legal, financial, or otherwise advice. Please seek your own and please look after yourself now, always, while you're doing the application, after the application, when you receive, if you receive any money, because it's challenging and it's a human response to be impacted by something traumatic.